You won the national.
You know, you dream about shit like that when you're a kid growing up, you know. And it was different for me because it was on a Monday. And this little Scouser fella comes past me on his bike and he looks at me and he says, "Only girls wear boots like that, you know, lad." "It's just you and me, man, yeah." And I went, "Quinlan, off, you're here too soon."
What was the best horse show? I think I know the answer. What was the best horse?
answer.
Well, yeah, I might surprise you here actually, because it's through our saddles and then AP comes in and just threw his saddles. He said, "What the that all about?" And Brian started laughing and said, "You don't ride up here much, do you?"
Well, delighted to be joined by absolute legendary jockey Tony Dobbin.
Oh.
Well, you are though. Come on.
Please.
I mean, you were at the height of your career when I started riding, and you were like, aside from your AP McCoy, your Ruby Walsh, you were like, you were the guy we all wanted to be.
Well, because you were based up north with me, you see.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I was very lucky, Ryan. I rode for some good trainers up north, big trainers, as in Gordon Richards and Nicky Richards, and when Gordon died, and obviously Lenny Lungo. So I was very lucky. I always had good jobs.
Yeah, there was some top yards in the north back then, wasn't there? There really was.
Absolutely. I mean, originally when I first started, you had Arthur Stevenson and obviously the Easterby's, both the Easterby's, and they've started mainly going on the flat now, I think, haven't they? Really?
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
But there were some great trainers around then, and Mary Reevely. You know, look, I was blessed. I was brought up in a very good era and with some very good jockeys.
And what was it? So where are you from originally, and what was it made you come over to the UK?
Well, I'm from Downpatrick in County Down, and I'm the youngest of 6 children. I grew up in a council estate. None of my brothers and sisters have ever sat in a horse or a pony. My dad was a huntsman for 22 years, so I got it from him, obviously. And I started riding pony racing for a man called James Kelly back in Downpatrick, and his daughter Sharon, I was second jockey to her, and I was brought up with it then. You know, once I got back from school, the country was only a mile away from where I lived, from the council estate.
Yeah.
And it was, I loved that, and I went on a week's work experience to a point-to-point trainer called Dennis McCauley, who sadly died last year. And, you know, you go for a week. But I didn't go back to school. That was it. I was 15. I never went back to school. And I came to England when I was 15 then, which was, I didn't do anything. So my year was the first year of GCSEs. And, well, as you can see, I didn't do
You
it.
were hooked after that.
Yeah.
So who did you work for when you first came over?
So, age 15, I've never on an aeroplane before, and I went to Newmarket to work for a trainer called Neville Callahan, who was a good flat trainer, but he was an angry man, Nev. But I didn't stay very long. I stayed there like a long weekend. I got homesick, went home crying my eyes out. But I went back a couple of months later, then when I was 16, to John O'Neill when he was in Cumbria, and a good friend of mine called John Burke, who rode lots of winners. I'm sure your viewers will know him. John and I grew up together, riding ponies together, and he was already in John Joe, so it made it easy for me, you know. So I served my time as an apprentice in the flat with John Joe, and I rode 5 winners on the flat, and then went jumping.
And what was it that got you jumping? Was it weight?
Weight. I was always going to go jumping, you know. And the lads I worked with in John Joe's all them years ago, and it's just, you know, it's 37 years ago. You know, they're my best friends now still, you know, like Barry Murta, who's a trainer in Carlisle, Robbie Supple, who's the chief starter, Steve O'Sullivan. You know, we had some great staff then, you know, and we're all still friends.
There you go. You want to ask him anything, Ed? You're going to speak today.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask him where did he go when he first came over, but you jumped in.
All right, well, I mean, anything else.
So Dobbs, when take us back to your first ride, especially over jumps. Can you remember that?
I can.
And what was that like?
Cartmel, a little filly called, what was she called? Little grey filly. Charlo remembers her, and she was no good. But I rode.
That's why you got to ride it.
Yeah, from John. But I obviously with riding on the flat, so I comes into the weigh room at Cartmel with me patent boots, me shiny little boots, and me little flat breeches, and I was light as a feather, and riding like Lester Pickett over hurdles. That'll soon change. You get a few falls, don't you?
You do. Yeah. Drop the irons a wee bit.
You know, my first ride on the flat was second in an apprentice race at at Hamilton with Jimmy Forge in one, and
Right.
and then my first winner over jumps was a novice chase at Margaret Raisin, Boxing Day in 1990, I think it was.
What were they doing letting you ride a novice chaser?
I know. And a horse called, I kid you not, John Joe trained it. And you know, at Market Raisin, when you turn in there, there's no rail, is there?
No.
And that dodgy fence, the first one in the straight. So this thing is running away with me, and I'm thinking I'm going to win this. And Seamus O'Neill, you know, he's a starter now still. Seamus, lovely, lovely fella. He was riding a horse in front of me, and so I nipped up his inner there because there's no rail, is there? And I pulled up, and I'm like, oh, I'm ecstatic. I've just ridden a winner over jumps, you know, my first winner. Wow, Seamus came trotting over to me. Wow, oh my God, I'll never do that again. Frightened the life out of me, he did. And I never done it again.
It's funny you talk about nipping up someone's inner, because like I know that when I started riding, if I'd done that to you, you would do exactly the same thing. You would kill me. Yeah. I remember I'd done it to Wilson Rennick. I did it to Paul Maloney one day, and oh my God, like I was going to get my head taken off.
And it's just an unwritten rule, really, isn't it?
Until you
have respect, isn't it?
It is, and until you have your senior jockey that says you can't do that, then you don't really know. You know, as a young lad coming up, you would have had no idea about it.
Oh, I was ecstatic, and I went from being delighted to, oh my God, he's going to kill me. And he was right, like. And then when I started progressing, Brian Story is a very good friend of mine, a proper horseman.
Yeah, he was brilliant, wasn't he?
And Brian rode every horse the same. And he, with all due respect, he likes awareness. Yeah. Like Brian rode some crap as well, but he rode them all the same. Everything was handy down the inner, and that's where I got it from. Mm-hmm. I used to follow him everywhere. And because when he was riding some goats, I just used to shout at him and say, Brian, because I was riding for good horses, like, Brian, am I all right? Yeah. He'd just wing out. He looked after me so much, I'll tell you. And I learned so much off him. He was a great horseman. He rode every single horse the same, handy down here, and then I started doing that. And we're at Perth one day, and AP's up riding for David Johnson and Pipe. And we're going to the last one down, so it's the fourth last. Yeah. Brian's still in front, mind. And I'm riding one for Peter Monteith, Lord of Mercy, on him. Grouse and Heather, she was called. I'm following Brian.
Good horse, wasn't it?
And she was mare, she was all right. And I'm following Brian, and I just shouted at him, Brian, how are you going? Well, he just winged out. No, he's still in front, mind. He winged out, let me up, and AP's following me, and just winged in and murdered AP. And then, so we straightened up and I'm gone, and I won. AP didn't catch me. And we came into the weigh room and threw our saddles, and then AP comes in. He just threw his saddles. He said, what the fuck is that all about? And Brian started laughing. He said, you don't ride up here much, do you?
So what did you do to deserve such special treatment?
I
don't remember you ever doing that for me.
No, Brian was brilliant.
But did you retire? Did you start doing that for other people when he retired, or did you like,
nah? But I wouldn't have rode one that had no chance in the end. You know what I mean? So.
It's funny how you did that. Now it's gone from you to Brian Hughes. Does that.
Yeah,
he's
what I don't understand and I don't get is this getting down to the start early. If you don't get down there on time.
Yeah.
So let's discuss that then. So back when you were riding, didn't matter if all the lads are already lined up, you just cut in front of them.
Ed, you're in. It's a race.
No, I'm talking about how.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. So can you imagine if I went down to the start, and Mark Dwyer and Lorcan Wire and Brian Story and Chris Grant and Peter Niven were all down there. I said, oh, sorry, I got here first. Like, they'd drag me off the horse in a headlock straight away, you know. You know, it's a race, so this crack of getting down to the start soon. I can't get my head around that.
I'm not sure, because when I first started riding it like you, there was never that thing. You got down there and you got your position. There was never, if you're down there early, that's yours. So I don't know when that changed.
Yeah, but
how did you guys sort it out though? Like if there was no like rules, how did you just be on top of each other?
That's not even a rule. What you're doing now.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean?
But it's unwritten.
Yeah. I mean, we just say, right, well, you know, I'm going to make it. Okay, so am I. Okay, well, let's go for it. You know, you know, it's a horse race, like, and then. But then when remember in the end when it was Russ Garrity and I. Russ is now a starter, obviously. And we all knew that the respect was there.
Yeah.
Even the young lads, you know, we wouldn't be horrible to them or out like that, but the respect was if they want to make it, then we want to make it. Everyone has a go, you know. It's like, whereas now, I've had jockeys coming and saying to me, "Oh, sorry, I got down too late." I said, what's that all about? Like, I don't get that. I don't get that.
Yeah, I say I came up with the same system as you, and it has changed, and I don't know at what point. I suppose it's Brian Hughes controlling everything or trying to, and it's just taken on.
Well,
it's not like that down south now, though. Like you go down south, it's everyone for themselves. It's just I'd say it's just a northern thing.
I mean, the conditional race, when the bell rings in a conditional race, it's like bloody little leprechauns running as fast as they can to get on the horses and to get out of the parade ring.
That'd be you, Ed, the oldest conditional, bullying everybody. Would that be right?
I do try to a little bit. Not that anyone listens to me anyway, but
no.
But you know, it's the way it is. It changes, isn't it? It's the way it is, and but it's not for me.
Change days.
Yeah,
change days.
Exactly.
So if we talk about your best horses, what was the best horse you? I think I know the answer. What was the best horse?
Well, yeah, I might surprise you here actually, because it's difficult. I was very lucky. I rode some bloody good horses. Obviously, One Man springs to mind first because of what he did.
Not what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You know, and then I got taken off him for a while, which was horrible for me as a young lad. But I got back on him, and I was going to ride him when he won the championship. Only I got a fall of direct route in the Arkle the day before and busted my hand. So
I didn't realise that.
Yeah, so the boss brought Brian down to ride him then, you see, which was great.
Yeah.
But I used to ride a horse called the Grey Monk for Gordon Richards, and he was an incredible animal, but he was quite brittle. If he stood in a stone, he'd be lame for a fortnight, you know. And he was cantering in the Irish Gold Cup one year, and he fell, and then he was one of the favourites for the Gold Cup that year, and he didn't get there. You know, I think he was even declared, if I'm right correctly, but he was an airplane. And then I rode Ingles Drever, and I rode Barton. I rode some really good horses, you know, and I'm very lucky now. I remember riding Ingles Drever, a bit of work around Carlisle one day. Howard had just bought all these horses from Sir Mark Prescott, and he says to me, I want to see this horse stay. And Lord Transcend, who was a bloody good horse, I used to ride him as well for Howard, and he was making the running. It was the best bit of work like you could ride on, and I gave this thing a squeeze, a furlong up, and it was unreal. It felt like Concord.
Really?
And Howard says to me, Howard thought it was something else. He says to me, does it stay? I said, stay, Howard. This thing would get 3 miles. Oh, son, don't be stupid. He's a miler on the flat. He got the stickers mixed up. The stickers were still on him. I was on Ingles Drever.
I bet that'd be unreal.
Oh, he was a guy, won the long walk hurdle, and he was a good horse. Yeah,
I was lucky. Well, I was Money's Garden.
Money's Garden.
Oh, Money's. Yeah, I loved Money's.
I was going to say, I thought that would be the one you said.
In fact, to be honest, he would probably be right up there with one of my favourites.
Yeah.
But he was one of them horses, like, you know, he didn't stay 3 miles.
Yeah.
He wasn't brilliant. You would think he'd be a Ryanair horse, but he didn't like staying away from home. He wasn't great at Cheltenham. Yeah. He was second in an Arkle, to be fair to him, but he was a very talented. I won a few grade ones on him. He was a very talented horse, don't get me wrong, and I loved him. God, he was lovely. But he was just, you know, he wasn't like a Grey Monk or a one man because of his tripwise and he
looked class to her.
Oh, he was a magnet. And to be fair, I was the only one ever rode him, you know, until I retired. Mm-hmm. You know, so to see someone else on him I used to hate that.
Yeah.
And he went on and won they named the race after him in Liverpool, and I won that on him. It beat Kato Star, actually.
Yeah.
I remember in his bumper at Ayr, we're coming out of the paddock, and Graham Lee is behind me on one of Bruce McTaggart's little sweaty bastard of a thing going mad, you know. And Money was going out there, and he had never been away from home, like he'd never had a gallop. And his ears were pricked like that. I said to Graham, just follow me in here. And we were hacking away down to start. Graham's got this thing going, and you know, down the sand there as you're going. Yeah. And I says to Graham, look at this fucking animal. It was just, you know, Stevie Wonder could tell you he was a good one. Do you know what I mean? And he won that bumper. He obviously won that.
Yeah.
But he was a very good horse. Listen, I'm not he was a very, very talented animal. But he was just short of that, that top. He won a few good ones, obviously.
It's funny though, because when I think about you, that's the horse that I think about you riding.
Yeah.
Because obviously some of the ones you've mentioned were kind of like before me a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the one that sticks in my mind. But
and he was definitely one of the best. Well, of course he was one of the best horses, but he was just one of them tripwises that he wasn't, he wasn't a 2-miler and he wasn't a 3-miler.
Yeah. And what about, I like this question, so a horse that you rode that should have been top level and just never quite made
something
it.
that never reached its potential, sort of.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. Phone call. Lucky we're not live.
Paul Nicholls asking you to ride.
Yeah,
the Grey Monk.
That would be one of them. Yeah.
He when he fell in Ireland with me, we ran him. That was in the Irish Hennessy, which is in January, I think, early Feb, and he fell and he was cantering. Denoli finished second, or Denoli won it with Tommy Tracy, and Tommy shouting at me for a bit of room because I was going that well. I gave it to him, and Jadami finished second, and he I think he broke down that day, Jadami. So we took him to Haydock then for a 2.5 mile race just before the Gold Cup because he's fallen.
Yeah.
And like 2.5 mile now wouldn't be his trip at all, but he didn't just win. Like I trotted him across the line, he won that easy.
Jesus.
And the second horse won the Cathcart, and the third won the Mile Mail Fleet, and another one was second in the Grand Annual or something. They're 2.5 mile races.
Yeah.
So
and he canted all over them.
Yeah.
That's the class he had.
Yeah.
And then he didn't. Yeah, I'm sure he might have been even declared for the Gold Cup that year, but he didn't get there.
He just didn't meet his potential.
And then we ran him. He had another year off. We ran him in a hurdle race at Haydock on TV, be Channel 4 then, and Gordon wasn't alive then. It was Nicky trained him, and so Nicky asked the handicapper, can you drop him a good bit here? Give him a run around a hurdle race. I need to get running to him.
Yeah.
So the handicapper dropped him like 30 pounds over hurdles, which they did in them days. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Give you a chance.
And anyway, he hadn't run in 18 months or whatever, and he didn't just win. Like he hacked up. I mean, I was playing with his ears all the way up straight. You know what I mean? Pulled him up again. There's all these handicap hurdlers behind me, like, and then I was all pleased, and it was on telly. He was my favourite. And then I'm walking up thinking, nuts. Oh shit, it just hit me. He's going to go ape shit here now, isn't he? And his owner was just the most lovely man, Alistair Duff from Carlisle. And I'm walking up, and there's Alistair and his family. Alistair wouldn't give a shit. He just loved it. I could see Nicky at the back there, and I'm going, oh, here we go. So I'm there taking the saddle off him. I got there, and Nicky just pops up, put his head over my shoulder. He said, "You're a fucking idiot." So the handicapper put him straight back up. I mean, how many hurdle races will he have won?
Yeah.
If I'd have won a couple of lengths on him, you know what I mean? But he got injured again.
I've been abused for that before. Where's your wing mirrors? And I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Let the trainer worry about that.
And the thing about that is,
to worry about that.
I do think sometimes though the handicappers, these lads that are sitting cantering and winning a couple of lengths, they might as well win 20 lengths.
I do think, because if you're hard held, then they go, well, you could have won 10 lengths. You may as well just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I wanted to talk about, because you're from back in the day, there was no social media. Nowadays, I mean, I'm just referring, I rode a horse yesterday that was favourite, pulled it up, ran no race. The abuse I got online for being a useless fucker.
I must have watched the right race then.
All right. But you didn't have that back then. And are you aware of the abuse that people get now, and how does that make a difference, do you think, to jockeys nowadays than it did to back when you were riding?
I think it's disgusting for a start, but like you say, we got it off the punters, but
at least it was to your face.
Just laughed at them, you know what I mean? I think it's terrible, and it's all right. It's easy. Like, I'm not one for social media, do you know what I mean? But it's easy for me and everyone else to say, don't look at it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. But of course you're going to, you know what I mean? And as I say, I'm not very good with social media, but I do think that it should be policed a hell of a lot better than it is, and you know, it's disgusting.
Yeah, there's too many. As soon as you get beaten a favourite, there's too many jockeys get abused, and surely as soon as somebody says something nasty on social media, they get in trouble.
They
it's
should
as simple as that.
exactly, because they know who it is, don't they?
Yeah, they find out who it was.
It's on their account or whatever account that it was made should just be shut down straight away. It doesn't stop them making another one, but
like when Rose and I were training, Rose used to get emails and stuff saying, you know, I hope you die. And, you know, and you're the worst trainer. And I'm like, it's just it shouldn't happen now.
No,
it's not right, even in this day and age. Especially in this day and age, it should be policed better.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't understand all about it, but it should be policed better. That's not right.
So you were very lucky to come up in your era where there was just...
Well, there was no phones when I started.
Phones.
You know,
you'd be going home and using the landline to phone some trainer.
Yeah,
I mean,
Richie McGrath and me were at Perth races once, and you know, for the festival. So you're up there for 2 nights. Mm-hmm. We all used to get our breakfast and then, or go out for breakfast and go shopping. Me and Richie walked into the same shop, Vodafone shop. I think it was Vodafone.
Phones for you?
No, that was another sponsor I had later on.
That's it.
But and Richie and me went into this shop and bought ourselves a mobile phone. So my number ends in 894 and his ends in 895. We've got the same numbers. And that was 30 years ago.
Jesus.
Yeah, we've still got the same numbers.
That's amazing.
And his is 895, mine is 894. Yeah.
And that was the first mobile phone.
Yeah. No, I think we had one before that, but it was like a better one.
Yeah. So Dobbs, then, the end of your riding career, you just briefly mentioned there about when you and Rose were training. How was that transition into the training side for you?
I was ready for stopping, to be honest with you. And I was only 36, but it's different nowadays. They ride much longer. You know, it's your well, we had the nutritionists and all that, and we had the physios, but it's more so now. I mean, and I think the boys are, you know, they all run around the tracks now, and I don't think they were much fitter than us, man. And they're certainly, I don't think it made them ride any better than we did. You know what I mean? But
it's just that it's body maintenance which is better now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe better to take a fall, but you can't. I do a lot of gym stuff.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do that replicates riding a horse.
Yes.
So the more you're riding, the fitter you get.
Exactly. I used to think exactly. It's the same in my day. You could run 100 mile.
Yeah. But you still can't ride a horse.
Like we used to play in these charity football matches every year against the Southern boys.
Yeah.
And you know, we're all so competitive. I wouldn't be able to walk. I certainly wouldn't be able to ride.
I mean, if you didn't know, Dobbs was like that fit. He went on a TV show. If you want to tell us what your TV show was that you went on and beat everybody on.
Huh?
Did you not know about this?
You were on Gladiators?
I was on Gladiators.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to find that clip.
It was
when was that?
It was for Bob Champion's
was it?
cancer thing. It was myself and Carl Llewellyn were the 2 jockeys that were still riding, and we had Willie Carson, Bob Champion, and Peter Scudamore.
Oh, yeah.
It was for Bob's cancer thing.
How'd you get on?
We both
won the whole thing.
Yeah,
Did
we
you?
both. Our team did. We were against TV presenters like Bradley Walsh, Paul Ross, Mr. Motivator.
Yeah.
You won't remember Mr. Motivator.
I remember Mr. Motivator. Yeah, that was.
And a couple of other guys who can't really remember.
We need to find that clip.
Yeah.
I've watched it a few
that
times.
was fun.
It's on YouTube.
On YouTube, we're gonna add that to the podcast.
Yeah, and you can imagine me and Carl. We were so competitive.
Yeah.
So they actually asked me to be a gladiator, but no, I'll stick to the riding. You know.
Yeah. So
we were against the women, mind you.
You failed to mention that.
Yeah.
I remember that the day you retired. It was like back at Carlisle. It was the old weighing room at Carlisle, wasn't it? It wasn't the new one. And who was it that finished second? You remember? Badger. And throwing away his stick and everything.
That's bollocks. Complete bollocks.
We've got to let boys win this race. Last race.
So it's quite funny, actually. I can tell this story now because it's... How long am I?
It's a while.
17 years, I think I'm retired now.
Yeah.
So there was 6 runners in this race and a horse called Ballyvogue that I was riding for Nicky.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of money. He cost a lot of money from Ian Ferguson in Ireland. No, he's a bay horse.
Was he?
And
it's because the picture at Carlisle of him was on the grey horse.
Yeah.
And Howard Johnson had one in it that Alan Shearer had that I used to ride as well. So my horse was, say, even money favourite. Howard's was second favourite, 94. The other 3 were donkeys. No good. I shouldn't say that in case someone actually owned them. Who
Yeah, but they weren't. I remember. Yeah.
So I rang Howard Johnson the night before the race. And I said, I'm allowed to say this now.
Yeah.
I said, look, Howard, I've done rode a lot of horses for you over the years. Rode you lots of winners and other things. I said, don't run that horse. And he didn't. He took it out.
Oh, good man.
He did. So it left my lad 5-1 on.
Yeah.
So we're down to start, and I'm saying to the boys, I'll just go and make it there, lads.
Leave me alone.
So Badger comes up, his was a bit keen, and he comes up beside me, up the hill. Before we got to the last little circuit to go, man.
Yeah.
He says, Dobbs, what do you want me to do? I says, Badger, just fuck off away from me out of the road. But my horse bolted up, like. It bolted up, you know what I mean? And I said, and Phil Tuck then, I think it was Phil Tuck, he sent Badger to London.
It's not how I remember it. Like.
No, I'm telling you. Anyway.
I remember, no, let me tell you our story. This is how I remember it. I remember turning in, everyone watching it going, Badger, what you doing? Badger, what you doing? It was like up your tail. And he's thrown away his stick and he's given it half a ride.
I think you're exaggerating a little bit.
The thing that you did win easy in the end, but there was a moment where you're thinking, what the fuck is going on here?
More importantly, so Tucky referred it to London, which I'm like, really? And then, so Rose had this surprise party for me in a hotel in Penrith that night.
Right.
And it was everyone was there. There was a lot of people there.
I wasn't invited.
And well, it was a free for all. And Badger was there.
Yeah.
And Badger said, I said, they're sending you London. Aye. So I gave him 200 quid for his train journey. But then the next day London says, had a look at it, says, fuck that, we don't want you, Badger. They threw it out.
Did he keep the 200
Little
quid?
bastard still got the 200 quid.
I love it. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure that horse that for the second to you didn't win again, though, did it? It didn't win.
I said to Nicky.
After that, like, did it?
Like, I think Nicky paid £250,000 or something back in them days for this thing.
A lot of money.
And it was disappointing, but it was, I mean, this was a naked spin race.
Yeah.
I said to Nicky, when I came in, this will never win again, like. No, it didn't. Yeah.
No, hopeless.
Yeah.
So we're here this week with you because it's National Week.
Mm-hmm.
You won the National. Come on. How did it feel? Everyone asks me that. So you feel like you're a little guy in between two Grand National
I've jumped the
jockeys.
fences, like.
Yeah.
But
everybody,
I feel like everybody now, as soon as you mention it, how does it feel?
Yeah.
How did it feel for you? Because I've never actually asked that to someone.
Well, I mean, it's pretty amazing, but you know, you dream about shit like that when you're a kid growing up, you know, and I had a horse that was quite fancied, to be fair, you know, and he had a chance, but and it was different for me because it was on a Monday.
Yeah, I was going to say, talk us through the
So
the
on the
process,
day, I'd ridden in the race before, and we're all in us as jockeys. We had our
Colours on and
colours weighed out.
We'd
weighed out, and we had our hats on, ready to go. So the horses were saddled up and everything. And then it became apparent then that this race isn't going to happen because
it was a bomb
scare. And so so as jockeys, we're outside the weigh room in our breeches and boots, and that's it. No coats or nothing. And obviously we're not allowed back into the weigh room then.
No.
And we're walking the streets and that, you know what I mean? And it was terrible. And I was gutted. I was gutted because all those other boys, they got to stay. They're all staying in the hotel. What do you call the hotel down there where everyone used to stay?
Oh God.
The Delphi.
Okay.
Delphi.
Yeah.
And my missus at the time, she was my girlfriend at the time, Vicky, and Brian Story was there. I think Brian must have ridden in an early race, and Brian was on the pace, and a friend of Vicky's, and I rang Barry Murta. So Barry came and picked us up from the M58, but so we had to walk up to the end because Barry couldn't get in because the roads were all closed.
Yeah.
Still in your colours.
Huh?
Still in your
Still in my colours. And this little Scouser fella comes past me on his bike, and he looks at me and he says, "Only girls wear boots like that, you know, lad." I'm like, "You little bastard." And then I'm walking on up the road, and this photographer asked me to stand by this bus stop. So I stood by a bus stop like this here, leaning against the bus stop, like I'm looking for a bus and me colours. And then the bloody horse, when he went and won on the Monday, so this guy won all these awards for this picture he got of me on the Saturday, waiting for the bus.
That's amazing.
So we went back, and I wanted to stay in Liverpool with the boys. They were on the terrace for a couple of days, you know what I mean? But anyway, I didn't, and I played golf on the Sunday morning, and then went back down early Monday for me.
I was going to say, can you imagine you stayed in Liverpool for the weekend and got on the sesh, and suddenly you're racing on the Monday? You'd be like, ah.
Didn't bother us in them days.
No,
So that was the way.
Better in
That
those
was the
days.
culture that back then, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the race, it was weird because, you know, you went to ride in the National, but one race at 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And were the loads of people there
20,000 people got in, yeah, free. But Aintree must have done an amazing job
to put that back on?
to put it back on, because the whole racecourse was, you know, flooded with people.
Yeah.
And the lads drinking beer and smashed bottles all over the place and stuff, you know. So that all had been
Great.
it was amazing what Aintree did, really, when you think about it. And but to go down for one ride was quite weird, really.
Yeah.
But it was great, and
again, that must go down as probably one of the most watched, given what had happened. You know, like you think it would have got a lot more attention because of the bomb scare and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You would have thought so anyway.
It'll be a quiz question for years to come, won't it?
It will. Yeah.
And the race itself went. I mean, my lad Lord Galeen he would gallop all day for you. He'd run a marathon, you know, and loved decent ground.
Back when the fences were scary.
When they were scary, yeah.
Smaller.
They were huge.
Oh yeah, they were small in his day compared to what they were yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was amazing. He took to it. He just, I mean, they improved. You know, some horses just take to it, like some don't, obviously.
And what was it? What was it like throughout the race? You just sit in a pocket and
I never seen another horse.
Go down the road, yeah.
I mean, at all.
Did you?
Never seen another. The only horse that I remember when we jumped the chair, and there was a loose one came up beside me, and I swear it nearly took me out of the water.
Did Dunwoody follow you?
Yeah, but he got a bad fall halfway down the back. Then he was Sonny Bay. Jamie Osborne followed me. Jamie gave that a brilliant ride. He went right. He was brilliant on that. But Dunwoody got a bad fall off Smith's Band actually halfway down the back, and sadly that horse got killed. Yeah. But I can remember turning in, you know, coming across the Mellon Road with the circuit to go before we got to the chair. And I could hear Richard Dunwoody and Jamie Osborne talking behind me going, Dunwoody, I can't remember which one of them it was, but it says, geez, we're going some gallop here, aren't we? And I'm thinking, are they saying that to make me slow down? Or
mind tricks.
You know, and I thought, oh, go on, son, I can't kick in and do this. I couldn't go fast enough on him.
That does happen though. We should, for the benefit of the viewers at home, that happens a lot. There's a lot of times where someone's going too slow or too fast, or you just try and trick people into doing what you want them to do, and that could easily been doing that too.
That was pretty amazing though, wasn't it? You know, you dream about stuff like that happening as a kid, and then that was only the second national I'd ridden in, and
mine was the first.
Yours was the first, was it? Right.
First time I'd ridden in it.
Right.
So, but I think that was a good thing though, because I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
At least that
you're a bit naive to
it.
Completely
naive. I
just go out there and hunt.
I had no idea what the fences were like.
Had you ridden over the fences?
I'd ridden over the fences at when the Sefton meeting.
Yeah.
But then that was soft ground, slow, like all that. It was completely different. So like I was very naive, and it made it a lot easier for me.
It was a lucky place for me, Aintree. I mean, Cheltenham and me now didn't get on at all.
Oh, really?
You know, I in them days of the Racing Post, it was Coach of the Week. And they asked me, what was your best Cheltenham you ever had? I said, when Foot and Mouth was here, and they called it off. And I shouldn't have said that, really. I felt really bad about that. But Aintree I rode 5 winners over the Grand National fences.
Yeah.
I won 2 Beecher chases and John Hughes, and there used to be a 2-mile race.
Oh, did they?
Which
so
they had to stop.
Tell us the story of the 2-mile race. There was a young amateur.
3 runners. There was 3 runners. So you started at the 2 miles at the Grand National start.
Yeah.
So you run one circuit without jumping the chair out of the water, obviously. And there was 3 runners. Brian Story was riding Clay County, who would step over hurdles. It was odds-on favourite. And I was riding one for Bob Champion, actually,
Yeah.
called Pat's Minstrel. And there was this young 7-pound amateur jockey riding a horse for Scott Cunningham called Desjardins, and he was called Mr. R. Johnson, claiming 7. And Brian Story done a triple salsa at the first stage and left me and this kid, Dickie Johnson, and we were chatting all the way around. I said, Dickie, we'll just slow down, son. You just stay with us. We'll just hunt away together.
Yeah.
So well, there's only 2 of us. We'll just hunt away together. And then
Look after each other.
once we turn in, we'll best man. And he sat with me. The 2 of us just
Yeah.
hunted away together. And then my horse ran away and won. Yeah,
That's amazing.
that was Dickie Johnson. And I remember saying it to Dickie, actually, when I was up at Ayr for the Scottish National meeting when we were training. And I brought it up to him. And he says, you won't remember, Dickie, but we rode in a 2-mile race and I was chatting. He said, remember? I went home and told my mum and dad, Tony Dobbin kept me right all the way around for that race. Brilliant.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really good.
But as the euphoria of winning, as you know, Ryan, it's just pretty incredible.
I think I've just found it's pretty undescribable.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Everybody asks you how it felt, and you're like, just nothing,
Surreal.
like nothing else.
Yeah,
like
it's
nothing
surreal.
else.
And the build up to it, well, maybe it was after that even, because you start riding it a lot more of them. The build up the week before, like this week, and when you get down there on the Thursday, it's a completely different atmosphere to Cheltenham.
Yeah,
Like
it is.
Cheltenham, Cheltenham's like the Olympics. It's the creme de
Cheltenham's
la
very
creme.
much the business.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But-
There's a job to be done at Aintree.
Yeah.
But Cheltenham's
Completely.
the
But
final.
a lot of the horses that have ran at Cheltenham and go to Aintree, they're expected to get beaten. So the pressure is just completely off
Yeah.
when you go to Aintree. I used to think, and I loved it there. I was leading jockey there a few years at the festival. Remember we had a treble there, Nicky and I, the first day, with Monet's Garden, Turpin Green, and Fazil won the Glenlivet.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
And I was leading jockey that year. But the pressure is just completely different.
Yeah.
And when you hear that music, from Bob Champion's film Champions, even now it's on. It puts the hair on the back of my neck up, and
It's a special place.
it's very much so,
Yeah.
Ryan. And I love it. It's just completely different to Cheltenham. I mean, Cheltenham, I was a northern jockey and I was going down there making up the numbers. Like Brian Hughes doesn't want to go down there.
no.
He rode a winner this year, but brilliant.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And I was the same. I rode 3 festival winners, but for the amount of winners I rode, it's not enough.
Yeah.
I was second in 2 Gold Cups and 3rd and 4th, but no one will ever remember you for being second in the Gold Cup.
If you give them a bit more of a ride, you'd have won.
Well, I don't think so.
Well, see, I'm the opposite. I've only had one winner at Aintree, and that was the National. I haven't had any other winners.
Seriously?
At all?
Not at all. No.
Well, that's
Any of the
surprising.
other-
Any other race? No.
So I'm level with you on winners at
There
Aintree.
you go. One winner, and Cheltenham's actually been quite lucky considering the rides I get down there.
Yeah.
It's been quite lucky for me. So I'm kind of the opposite. I actually prefer riding around Cheltenham.
Really?
To Aintree,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just what you prefer. It's where
And
you've had your luck.
It wasn't for me like I got a fall off direct route in the Arkle and missed the champion chase winner on one man. And in another year, sadly, I lost my brother in a car accident the week before Cheltenham.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to go. My family made me go, and I rode a winner for Lenny in the Pertemps final on Freetown. And I remember coming in after, I didn't celebrate or anything. I didn't want to be there. And Leslie Graham it was from Channel 4, then she was interviewing, and I says, to this day I still regret it. I was like, you know what, Leslie, this is amazing. Don't get me wrong, I've ridden a winner, but I just lost my brother last week, and she started crying. I started crying. It was terrible.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
It's emotion.
It's emotion, yeah. And then I got a fall in the next race, and my goggles split my eye open. So it closed over, and then they wouldn't let me ride the next day, which I was delighted about.
I couldn't wait to get away.
And
from the
Dickie
place.
Johnson put that in his book, so he did. And his book, he says he could tell that I didn't want to be there, and I was glad to get away out of the
Really?
place. And he was right, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
Couldn't
didn't
wait
put
to
it
get
the same as what AP put in his book.
Yeah, he lied. I'm going to sue him for that. He says I went to hospital in a helicopter from Carlisle or something.
And you were back before the last
I
race.
was, you little lying git.
Well, what's the story there?
Well, I got a fall in Carlisle, and
It's in AP's book.
hey, honestly, he's like, I'm gonna. I said to him, we'll settle out of court.
Right.
Take a massive payout.
I was concussed, and when I was properly concussed now, and they put you on a stretcher, obviously, and take you to hospital, but I broke my thumb.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so once I came around, it was all right, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I went back to get me one back, and an AP put in his book, oh, he was helicoptered off the Carlisle Hospital. No, bullshit. It was lies. I was never in a helicopter, in an ambulance helicopter. And he put it in his bloody book, so it's liable now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Can't lie in the book now. Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
So were you on a high for several days after winning the national? Did it take a while to sink in, or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I rode again. I rode.
Especially after it being one race on one car.
Yeah. I remember I didn't ride. There wasn't much racing that week then. And then it was on a Monday, and then on a Wednesday I pushed the button for the national lottery. And I was doing all these talk shows and all this crap. And then I rode at Sedgefield. I rode a winner. And that mare again, that Grouse and Heller again, actually. And Stan Clark was having a party at his house Saturday night. And I was invited, obviously. Mm-hmm. Well, I couldn't get there quick enough. I bought myself a new suit and a new pair of shoes. And to get me present, and you know, so I was there. And then I rode in the Monday at Hexham. My family were over, and I broke my collarbone. So I was off for a couple of weeks, which was great. You know, I went home, and it sure was great going back to Ireland. I opened the pub and done all this and that, and like you'll have done the same.
What was it like?
Done the same. Well, it's similar. You injured yourself at Hexham. You came just like I did.
Yeah, that was the next day.
The next day. Yeah.
So you come down quite quickly.
Very quickly
After that slope.
But it's like suddenly, I don't know, I'm not actually quite sure what level you were at before you won the national, to be honest, but I was a bit of a nobody, to be honest, let's be honest. I was riding away, but you know, I hadn't achieved a hell of a lot. And suddenly you go, everybody wants to speak to you, everyone wants you to do stuff, and you're like, holy, you know.
It's one race, you know, that'll never leave you, you know, which is lovely.
Well, it's history, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing that got me.
I mean, I had a good job at the time. I was Gordon Richards' jockey, you know, so I had a good job.
Yeah, pretty nice rides.
Yeah.
And who trained Lord Gillian?
Steve Brookshaw.
Steve Brookshaw.
Yeah, in Shropshire. And he was owned by Stan Clark, who, you know, owned Newcastle and Sedgefield and racecourses and Northern Racing. He owned Northern Racing.
Yeah.
I remember driving up his drive to this party, and there was security at the gates and all this, and I goes up. He says, "I've got a present for you." So I'm driving up, and there was this brand new Jag in the drive, brand spanking new, and inside it was his colours. You know, the leather was. I'm like, oh my God! If that's for me, I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna put the money to a house, put the money to another house or something. It wasn't for me.
That wasn't for you. That's exactly what I'd be thinking. Yeah. What did you get out of interest?
I got a few quid extra.
Yeah. I got a picture.
You're joking.
I got a picture.
Oh God.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't watch the podcast, but I got a picture. Not to sound unappreciative, but yeah.
I can remember once going to Ireland to ride at Punchestown. I don't want to name any names, but
feel free.
It was Punchestown. In them days, it was always on the same time as Perth.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
And Lenny, I rang Lenny because I used to ride a horse for John Joe called Quasar, and I'd won the champion 4-year-old race on the year before in Punchestown, a grade 1, and the following year he's running the champion hurdle. So I rang Lenny, and I says, I was on my way. I was in Penrith on my way to pick Calvin McCormick up to go racing.
Right.
And I rang Lenny, and I says, I want to go to Punchestown to ride Quasar. And he starts roaring at me down the phone. He said, well, you're my jockey. And I said, well, I want to go. And AP was going to Perth, so Lenny got AP to ride all his, so that got me out of it.
Yeah.
And okay, John Joe trained Quasar, and the owner, I said to John Joe, you know, he's going to pay me bloody way over, because he didn't last year. And no bother. John just like, yeah.
Cool as you like.
Anyway, I won the champion hurdle in Punchestown, and he met me at Market Race, and the owner, I don't know how long after, and he gives me an envelope. That's for you. And so I just run it back into the end, open this envelope. It wasn't just a picture; it was the proof of a picture. Buy myself a picture. It was the proof that said "proof" written on it. So there you are. You can go buy yourself a picture.
That's amazing.
Oh my God.
Proof.
That is a new one.
Yeah.
That is a new one.
Little Quasar, he was a good horse too.
Jesus God. So, what are we going to talk about national now? This
Yep.
week?
Grand National. Any fancies?
I really like the look of Iroko, so I do.
Or was it? They posted a video of him schooling the other day, and it did not jump the national style fence well at all. And I thought, God, they shouldn't have posted that.
Right, I didn't see that.
I would have agreed with you. I thought they've obviously set him up for that race.
And I love the way he's a good traveller.
Yeah,
and you need a horse to travel.
Oh, you do.
You know, if it's 4 1/4 mile or whatever it is nowadays,
Yeah.
you need a fast horse.
Harvey Smith always told me you need a 2.5 mile to win the nationals.
Yeah.
So you need the speed. You need to be able to lay up.
Yeah.
Ginger McCain used to say that. Yeah.
And he's got a lovely weight, 10, 11.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting, you know, because it's not out yet with the Irish horses. The jockey situation, you know, what's Mark Walsh going to ride?
Yeah.
You know, he obviously doesn't ride Iroko because they're keeping John on him.
Yeah.
And presumably...
Ride something for JP.
yeah, well, he's jockey, but Paul Townend has the first call on JP's horses in Willie's race. He's pulled rank there. So, what's Mark Walsh going to ride, you know? So, it'll be interesting this week to see when that comes out. And, like, I'm a big fan of Intense Raffles, but he won the Irish National, but this weather's not going to suit him, you know? He looks good, and he's the most gorgeous animal you've ever seen. He's like something out of My Little Pony.
Yeah,
they've done a thing on him. Like Kidneys have done a great job with him. It's brilliant for a small stable like that to have them owners with a good horse like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And he done a thing last year before the Irish National where they followed him around the yard for a bit, and he's got this flaxen. I know he's a grey horse, but he's got this white mane. And honestly, he's just the most beautiful looking thing you've ever seen in your life. Like, but. He wants softer ground, surely to God.
No, I do. I don't know if you just agree with this, but I do think they should, every year, the national ground should be watered the shit out of, and it should be soft ground.
Should be soft, fair enough.
That would
just slow it down.
Well, slow it down and make it safer. If you know they're on about they've altered the fences, fine, but they've just got now they just go quicker because the fences are smaller. But if and the field size has changed, all they need to do is make it soft ground. And
there's more space for everyone, isn't there?
Well, that's another argument, you know. I tell you what annoys me a little bit about it all. You know, the people who want to get rid of it, there's a lot of them around. So they have to be. We have to making sure they feel all right about it. Hence why the fences are smaller.
Yeah.
But then you get some people now are complaining, the fences are too small. It's not what it used to be. You can't have it everywhere.
No, you can't.
You know, Aintree do a magnificent job marketing this race.
Yeah.
It's a £1 million race.
Yeah.
It's a British institution. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It is.
And I think they do an amazing job. And I just don't like these people that come and say, their fences are dandy brushes. Well, okay, they probably are, but it's still there. It's a spectacle, and it's just
still the iconic.
Of course it is.
The thing is, you go walk the course, right? They're still massive.
Yeah.
What the horses can't see is that you can't brush through the top. That's when people say they're small.
Yeah.
But when you walk it, and they still ride huge. If you've got a horse that's careful, you're in the air for a long time.
Well, the horses fall now because they overjump.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
You know, because they're jumping because they're still tall, but once they realise they don't have to.
Yeah.
Then
you want one economical now.
Yeah.
You don't want one that's too good a jumper, but.
But I think they've marketed the race amazingly, and it's
what they've had to do to keep it going. Like,
yeah.
You know, and the problem is there's always going to be people complaining.
Yeah.
No matter
you're
what
never going to please everyone.
Never going to please everyone.
No. But it's. Can you imagine not having it? Like, it would be awful. You know.
I know. That would be the end of racing. If they managed to get rid of that, it'd be the rest of racing to follow.
Yeah.
But it's the whole festival as well of Aintree, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just, for me, I enjoy the Aintree Festival but more than the Cheltenham for the sake of the Grand National.
Yeah.
You grow up as a kid, that's the one race you watch.
When people's race.
Yeah. When that music comes on from... that film was the first time I'd ever been to the cinema.
Was it?
When Bob Champion's film came out. And then my first winner over the national fences was for Bob Champion, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And when that music comes on, that's it. That's me gone.
Yeah.
You know, it brings it all back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you ever watch yours back?
I've watched it a load of times.
Do you know what? I've actually
know,
watched
like,
mine
even on a
this
bad
week
day,
a couple of
Okay,
times.
well, I
Yeah.
probably will, but I always watch it and just I'm watching it and I'm going, that's not even me. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. I don't think it's me. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
I don't. It's a weird feeling, very weird feeling.
How many nationals did you ride in?
3 or 4 in the end, 4 maybe.
In the
Yeah.
end, you're not finished yet.
No, but like to now.
Yeah.
Well, we were just
There
saying
has been.
before. We
Has
were
been,
just
it's not
saying
finished
before.
yet.
I don't think I'll ever ride in it again. It is a better level of horse now.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't
Well,
come across those horses.
Takes more of a Gold Cup horse to win
does.
the national now.
It does. Yeah.
To get in it?
Well, yeah,
get
it's
in
more
it,
of a
yeah.
classier race
Yeah.
than what it used to be.
Well, that's I said back in the day. If a good horse ran in it, a top-rated horse, then the rest there'd be 20 of us in the sun are trying to do 10 stone
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're all out of the handicap.
Well,
like.
it was a genuine handicap. You could get a handicapper in and they'd have a chance.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's not so. Not
Yeah,
really
but now with the jumping's not so much a problem as it was. You know, and the ground would be a lot softer back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, there was more chance of a 100-to-1 shot winning it then. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
or
Yes.
an outsider.
Yeah.
You said that yourself, didn't you, with Aurora's Encore? He wasn't the most classy of horse.
He would never. He'd be lucky to finish 10th now.
Mm.
He wouldn't even get in. He wouldn't even get a run. So yeah, it's changed days. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but yeah, it's just a very different race
So
nowadays.
Dobbs, if you're going for a Rocco, who are you going for?
I don't know. I am Maximus. I'd love to see him win again.
Yeah.
And I can't work out whether they're setting him up for this race or whether he's just
Well,
running.
we don't know
crap.
we don't know who's riding him.
We
yet,
don't know
either,
who's
you
riding
know.
them. So it's trying to work out who's riding what. But I would agree with Dobbs on the intense raffles. I'd love to see that win as well for a small trainer. But I don't know. But bloody Mr. Vango would love to see that run.
The story would be
The
brilliant.
story would
there,
be
wouldn't it?
brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
The Bradstock's horse.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it might just not get in. It doesn't
Yeah.
look like it's going to get in.
Yeah.
So, like, what you want is a story, not just not. You don't want to. JP McManus is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but like, there's no story there if he wins it again necessarily.
No.
I'd love to see someone smaller winning it.
Yeah.
It would be brilliant. But
And the horse that nearly took the wrong course in the cross country was Vanillier.
Vanilli, yeah.
I mean, he's got to have a squig. He
Yeah,
finished third in
yeah,
that
yeah,
race
yeah.
after that.
I
Yeah.
actually like a horse that won
Stumptown.
Stumptown that won the cross country races. It's been a progressive horse this year. You know, his form's endless. He stays and he jumps, doesn't he? So
And what about Little Hewick?
that would be a story.
Will he? I know the fences
Would-
are easier,
Well,
but
that's
will
my
he jump
next
around
question,
though?
yeah.
Will he? I don't know.
I mean, if it had been back in the day,
yeah.
not for a bag of
Yeah,
diamonds, would you
no,
get me on it?
danger.
I mean, he's got a lot of weight though.
Yeah, but he deserves it.
11.7 he's got.
And I watched him school the
For a
other day,
little
and
horse.
he wasn't
No, he's
giving
not.
them a lot of height.
He ain't a great.
No.
He's not a pure
Don't
natural. But the
know.
way it is now,
Gorgeous gavel
But
getting
it's,
round,
it
don't
will
worry
still
about that.
take, like, I just picture him down to Beechers, taking the top off it and landing a bit steep. I don't know, that just...
Gavel
He's
sort him
certainly-
out. Gavel get him round. Don't worry.
I wouldn't be rushing to ride him anyway, that's
No.
for sure. I don't know.
you wouldn't have done a few years ago.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. See, my year was the first year where they'd altered some of the fences, but
Right.
not all of them. So, like, I got away with more than I would have in your day.
Yeah.
And it's just changed.
In
a
my
lot.
day, the first stage, the third fence, that was huge.
That is, but
That
that's
doesn't
still big
have
though.
it doesn't have a name or anything
No, it doesn't. That is the worst fence in the course.
because it's as
honestly.
big as the chair,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
There's
the chair's more of the spread, and
Yeah.
it was a big,
Yeah.
big
another
It's
ditch.
still like
It's not
that.
far from home, isn't there? Is it four or five from home? There's another ditch.
Yeah.
That's got a
Before
name.
you
That,
cross the road.
yeah,
cross the main road, there's
it's
another ditch
called,
there.
what's it called down there?
Does it have a name?
I don't think it does. I thought it was just over.
No, I think
Open
it's, I think it's,
I know, but Valentine's now.
It was
that's,
that's
Valentine's,
that was
isn't it?
big
that's,
enough.
that's got a bigger drop than Beechers Brook now.
Yeah,
That-
is it?
that- oh, it is. Yeah, it rides bigger than Beechers. Yeah.
I remember going down to Beechers, and for years, just Dad had always drilled into me about jumping Beechers Brook, and then when I did, I was like, oh shit, don't miss.
You've got to send them on. You can't land steep at that fence.
But,
I didn't. I saw a long one as well and give it a big 3, 2, 1. Yep.
and you know, they always say, you know, the canal turn, obviously it's a 90-degree bend, you've got to ride it like that. But the two fences before it, I mean,
They're on the bend.
Beechers, Foynehaven, and the canal, they're all, I
On
mean,
the bend.
they're all on a bend, you know.
Yeah,
So
it's
if you're brave enough, Jamie Osborne was brilliant on Sunny Bay. If you watch back in mine, he rode Beechers like the canal turn right, and then and there was a big steep fence, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm in front and I'm on my own, so I went around the middle of the track for the easy bit. But Jamie
was it always easier out in the middle of the track to down the rail?
Completely, yeah. Beechers. Yeah. The drop.
What about the rest of the track? Was
no,
there a certain way
just
to ride the
Beechers.
rest?
Just Beechers was always, in the inside was a lot
Yeah, you always
steeper.
come out.
But it rode like that. It wasn't just a canal turn. If you could ride three fences, just a little bit like that, obviously the canal turn is emphasised more because it's 90 degrees.
Yeah.
But if you could ride Beechers and Foynehaven, you're going to save a few lengths, which come down to the end of it.
The end of
it
4.5
all
miles
works,
makes a difference, yeah.
It all counts.
Yeah.
Yep. The Scottish National, I was leading jockey there for many years. My favourite racetrack, and I never actually got around in the Scottish National.
Did you not?
And I remember one of my last years, I was riding a horse for Lenny Lungo called Mr. Woodentop, and Ruby was in front of me. You're in a parade, so we're walking in front of the stands, and Ruby's in front of me. And here's number 10, ridden by Ruby Walsh, bidden to win this race for the 3rd year. Number 11, Mr. Woodentop, ridden by Tony Dobbin, yet to complete in 12 attempts in this race. And Ruby turns around and starts pissing himself laughing at me. And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, it was another bit of confidence going down to the start.
Thanks for that.
Thanks for that.
Feeling really good about myself.
They did that one or another. I mean, it didn't fall off them all. I mean, they pulled up and... But no, I didn't get around there. And Ruby pissing himself laughing at me.
Well, it could be worse. I've been beaten twice by a neck and a head.
One year, weren't you?
So the year before Aurora's Encore won, he finished second to Marigo on Timmy Murphy, Ray Green's horse. I beat him everywhere except the finish line, and he just got up and did me. And then a few years ago, I rode one for Sandy called Dingo Dollar.
Yes.
And the same thing happened.
That looked like it was going to win, didn't it?
Same thing happened. Thought I was going to win. Tom Skoo did me on the line. So I've had.
Yeah, but you can blame.
That was the Cinders, wasn't it?
Yeah. Huh?
You can blame Quinlan.
It was. That's another story. Quinlan was riding. Sean Quinlan was riding another one for Sandy in the race, and I'd said to him, "I said, don't get there too soon. I said, doesn't do a stroke in front." And we're turning for home, and I made the run in, so I was there, and Quinlan comes up, sides me. It's just you and me, man, yeah. And I went, Quinlan, fuck off, you're here too soon. He's and of course he fucking took me on, so we went quicker into the straight than I wanted to. I was trying to fill him up, and Quinlan's taking me on. So then I end up, I get beat. He finished 4th, and he comes in and he goes, you were right. It's a bit late for that now. Jesus, honestly.
Classic.
So yeah, he got me fucking beat. Yeah. Right, sorry, we should mention we've switched places. This is the big quiz. Grand National jockeys.
Guess who knows the best Grand National knowledge?
All right.
So, first quiz question is, which jockey has ridden around the Grand National the most times?
Sorry, currently or even past
history.
Ever. Which jockey has ridden around the Grand National the most times?
Ruby Walsh.
Wrong. It's on you to steal the point.
Past or present?
Past or present?
Carl Llewellyn.
Wrong.
The Grand National or the National Fences?
Grand National.
Tony Dobbin.
Wrong. Go on, last chance. You've mentioned him.
Last World Champion.
Fuck's sake. Richard Dunwoody?
No.
Oh, for God.
Who was it?
Richard Johnson.
Oh,
Is he?
really?
Yep, he's ridden in the most Grand Nationals out of anyone.
How many times?
I don't know that.
Oh, come on. You can't have half a question.
Right, so question 2. How many fences on the Grand National course are jumped twice? Oh, look at the blank faces on them. You both won in them.
28.
You jumped 28 fences twice.
Oh, right.
That's my turn, that's.
Oh, you
Go on then. Have a guess.
60-odd
No, sorry. That was really stupid.
Oh, hold on a minute. That's not really stupid because you only jumped 2 fences.
No, but he said we jumped
It's only
60.
2.
Go on.
I don't know.
16.
Incorrect.
Hold on.
So how many fences did you jump twice? So you don't jump the chair in the water.
Aye.
So what? How many fences are there?
22. No. What is it?
We got 2. Maybe.
I am.
Oh, hello.
Um,
15?
Nope.
14?
Yeah.
14.
14.
Neither of us
Well,
got
that
that.
doesn't
you
count
get
because you get
plenty
too many
of
goals at
Too
it.
many goals.
So, what is the current minimum age for a horse to run in the Grand National?
6.
Incorrect.
8.
Incorrect.
7.
It's no good. Just that doesn't count.
It's competitive.
I
Age
knew
is
it
still
was,
there,
I
isn't
knew
it?
it was
It's not
7
that
or 8.
point.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's 7 years old.
7.
So this is question 4. Which horse is the last horse to win with a single worded name?
Oh, God.
Because I was thinking about this earlier and it caught me. Every horse I could name was 2.
Was it Crisp? Was
He didn't win it.
Did it
Mr.
not win it? Fuck, he was a second. Fuck. So that's my Grand National knowledge.
Chris
to a
was
T.
second, yeah, was it?
Rubstick.
Nope. It's not the latest horse to win
Oh,
with
so there's
one
been one
name.
since.
Mm.
Huh.
I can think of 2 since Rubstick, I think,
I can't think of any.
including this one.
Gotta be honest.
No, don't know. What?
Bala Briggs.
Ah.
I wouldn't have got that. No, that's Bala Briggs. That's 2.
It's not 2 different words.
Sounds like 2 words. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Right, so what is the highest odds that a national winner has won at? Oh, he's pushed in quick.
100 to 1.
Correct.
I was
Is that
gonna
the
say-
first
I was
point to
going
Dobbs,
say-
is it?
I was going to say that.
First point to Dobbs. Do you know how many
1-0.
100 to 1 winners
That's
there
not
have
1-0.
been?
I got a question.
How many 100 to 1 winners has there been?
5.
Well done.
You discussed that on the way here. Right, that's cheating.
That wasn't a question, so it's fine.
Oh, God.
Right, the next question you should both get now, so it'd be quickest on the buzzer. How many fences are jumped in the Grand National?
Oh, I don't even know.
36.
No. How many did you jump twice?
Ah, I've got it.
No, you haven't got it.
I have.
30 fences.
Correct.
Yes.
I think you even it up at 1-1 with 1, 2,
how many-
3, 4 questions
Oh,
left to
Jesus,
go.
This is going on a bit.
Right. So who was the unlikely winner in the 1967 Grand National and had a fence named after him?
Boyneven.
Oh! Point even.
Oh, fuck. We don't need these bloody things.
Yeah, you do. Right. What is the tallest fence on the course?
Chair.
Yep. Oh, look, you're letting him get away now.
I disagree with that.
I've just,
I disagree with that answer.
I've just slipped my rein
they
and
were-
I'm just getting.
They were bigger in mind, eh?
No, I think the first ditch is taller than the chair, but there we are, just because it
Not
hasn't
far-
got a name.
What size of the chair? I know the answer to that. What size of the chair? 5'2".
Is it?
Yeah.
Same size as you, Ed.
Yeah, about that. So, the shortest winning margin was in 2012. But which horse was the winner?
Neptune Cologne.
Oh, he's evened it up.
You buzzed it. No.
Oh.
No, he hasn't. You buzzed him before you finished the question.
That's you're allowed.
Yeah.
I'm not
So
aware of
there's
these
one
rules. to
one
be honest.
question left. Dobbs, you need this for the draw.
Oh.
Ryan, you need this to steal.
Oh.
Which horse was the last horse to win the Grand National with top weight?
Tiger Roll.
Incorrect.
Down to you.
This is for the draw, Dobbs.
Red rum. Red rum.
Red Rum.
Really?
Yep. Red Rum was the
Tiger
last
Roll
horse
not
to
have
win.
top weight?
No, he didn't. He still wasn't top weight in the
I need to
race.
check. I need to
Draw.
check
A draw.
your facts.
3-3 on the Grand National quiz.